Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to focus on how to interpret a topographic map. Now, things that you are able to look for in one of these maps include the following: elevation, which is our height above sea level; the relief in an area, which is the difference between the highest and the lowest point; the slope, how steep or shallow the gradient is or that change in elevation in a given area; and the direction that a stream might flow based on the information in the map. To do this, we're going to have to pay attention to the contour lines. We're going to have to use the indexes and the intervals that are given to help us interpret these maps correctly. Now, when we take a look at this sample map, one of the first things that we want to do is identify our contour lines. When we take a look, any of the lines that are drawn would be identified as a contour line. In this case, the interval is the difference in elevation between any two lines. So first I'm going to find two index lines. So let's take a look kind of between points B and C. We see that two index lines listed here are 2100 meters and 2000 meters. There is one index line one contour line between them. So that means in between each line there is a difference of 50 meters, because if there is two lines and I have 100, I simply divide that by 2. So every line is going up 50 meters. This will help us identify changes in elevation and our slope. Now, if I look from A to B, I see that I go from the 1800 meter line to the 2000 meter line. If I do 2000 minus 1800, that means from A to B, there's a change in elevation of 200 meters. If we look at the same situation from C to D, we go from 1850 to 2050. It is the same change in elevation of 200 meters, but notice there's a different spacing in the lines. Now, the slope is something that tells us a little bit about how steep a hill or an area is. If we look from A to B, the lines are pretty spaced out. But if we look from C to D, they're very close together comparatively. So A to B would be a rather shallow slope, and C to D would be pretty steep. Now, the last thing that we can look at in this map is the direction that the stream flows. It will always go from high to low elevation. The hint we can look for is we always want to find our highest point relative to the stream, and that's the peak we see at 2,227 meters. And we see that moving away from that, we see the stream would flow down. If I look at the direction of the arrow I drew and compare that to the compass, we see that it's going northwest. Now, a hint, you'll see that there's kind of little V's. If we look for those V's that typically indicate streams or rivers, you can also notice that the stream is flowing away to the open end of the V. That's helping indicate downstream. Now, these are the types of questions I could ask you to analyze on a topographic map. So these are the things that you want to now apply and look for as you go through the next worksheet. In the next video, I'll explain how to convert from a topographic map to a profile view.